They both ran with a story, which people have been asking me to do this for ages, to have a look at this geezer. And I didn't really want to because I didn't know too much about him. But there's a guy called Chris Webster. Now everybody's going to know, most of the Brits on here are going to know who he is, especially if they follow military type stuff. Now Chris Webster has been accused of being a water mitty. For those of you in America who don't know what that is, stolen valor type thing. He was, as I believe, he did serve, but only in the TA, and he failed his training. So he's one of these who's done literally, probably been issued his kit and almost handed it straight back in again, do you know what I mean? So his service is nil. He then claimed to have PTSD and all sorts of other remarkable fucking things that he'd obviously got from a long life of telling complete fucking shit, to be honest. So he set up a charity, or so he said, called Shoeboxes for Heroes or something along those lines. And basically, somebody investigated him, and when they went to the Charities Commission said, no, we don't know who this geezer is. And although shoeboxes had been sent out, I think money had been raised, he'd been rattling the tub all over the fucking place. And as far as I've been made aware, nobody can really account for all the money that's been taken and all that sort of stuff. Okay, so that was how far I'd seen the story unfold. Today in the Sun newspaper and the Telegraph, apparently, and they've got witnesses, etc., 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 on top of all his other fucking buffoonery, he has been fucking basically hounding fucking women, vulnerable women, may I add, for, I don't know, I don't know if he actually tried to meet them, but it said he'd been sending sort of like video stuff online and all that sort of stuff. So he's a bit of a creature. He'd been asking these vulnerable women to reciprocate by sending pictures back, etc., etc., etc. The feelings weren't mutual. The girl that was interviewed in the paper literally said that he made her skin crawl, etc., etc., etc. And then after that, he came out with some grovelling apology, saying that the women had never been married and that it was all a mistake, etc., etc., etc. I think the geezer's fucking bad news for him, this Chris Webster. I think he's a buffoon. I think he's a fraud. I think he's fucking loads of fucking things. He's probably a fucking crook as well, having ripped off fucking many military charities. I don't think he's got a fucking ounce of PTSD in his body. I think it's complete crock of fucking shit. He claims his PTSD is down to his upbringing, etc., etc., etc. I'd beg to differ. I think it's a crook and a fucking thing to get himself out of there to say, oh, let's blame it all on PTSD, there's something wrong with me. I know lots of people have been asking me to rip into him. Now I've looked at the fucking facts of the matter, I think people are right. I think he's an absolute fucking crook. I had stepped off the gas a little bit because I thought, well, you know, maybe he has got serious mental issues, etc., etc., etc. But once it gets to the stage where you're actively targeting women and then admitting that you've got some weird sexual fucking fetish and you're a fucking pest, basically, yeah, it's all a bit fucking untidy, isn't it? So, Chris Webster, you're a fucking pest, all right? And I hope the courts throw the fucking book at you and throw the key away as well, okay? Because you're what do you want, Wendy?
Nothing.
More fried pickles, perhaps? No? What are you trying to say then?
Nothing.
Right, okay. So, that was that. So that was the two big stories of the day, really. There was something else in one of the papers. I can't remember what.